is obviously a time for criticism. There's also a time for support. At this point, I had a two-person LLC for a very long time. And I thought that was difficult because it's 50-50, and this is probably more difficult, as much as it seems like it will be simple to get a three-person majority. But at this point, I'm going to try to be as supportive as possible. And I hope that the public understands that this is something where we have an immediate crisis to handle, and that really needs to be separate from moving forward. So I'm going to do that here. I'm not going to be sitting here and pounding on the table and getting upset about, why didn't we do this a long time ago? None of us have a time machine here. We can't go back. If I did, be a lot of changes in my life. I can promise you that. But I don't want to see this, not from people in this room, so just people who may be watching this or have any kind of understanding of this process. Today is really about next year and whatever everyone's walked into. This is just stopping the bleeding.
And I'm going to make a suggestion. I am willing to take 1 day every pay period and furlough it from now until the end of the year to help us. Not that my salary will do a huge amount, but it's the fact that I'm willing to give up my one day per pay period and continue for the next fiscal year. So this is a voluntary thing that I'm offering up.
I can't do that. I would not vote for, not that my vote is magical, but I wouldn't vote for I just don't think it's right to balance a budget with people who've been here for a long time who had nothing to do with it. And then all of a sudden you're asking people to take a pay cut. Maybe it's because I was raised with a single mom. I don't know. I just don't think it's right. So I couldn't do that. I just don't think that's right. If we said that we are going to fund the jail $1 million less than what your projection is, and we go through the year and it turns out the sheriff cannot accommodate that $1 million less, at that time, can we do an emergency loan from some other place?
We do not have the resources for it.
If we had the resources. But we can't budget it.
We cannot budget.
But if we said we really want you to come in under what you have for a budget, at that point, if we found that we have there's money all over the place in weird places, but if we took the money from somewhere else, at that point, we could then do that, is what you're saying.
So if we cut spending in some other place, we would end up having a savings. That
like $1 million in LATCF. Like if we said we're gonna, what is it, 8 million? What is the number? 9 million to 100,000.
8 million, 8
million three. If we said, hey, Sheriff, you're gonna have 7.3 million, and then please try to do that, and then he couldn't do that after 6 months, we could then go, well, we got to get that LATCF million in there. Would that be legal or would that not be legal?
So you can use LATCF for salaries, expenditures. The only restriction is that you cannot use LATCF for lobbying.
Okay. I'll just leave that there. I don't know if everyone's on the same page here. I'll just leave that there. But if we are to say to them, we would like to see the jail budget lower in the event that fails to happen, at that point, because you'd said previously we cannot use LATCF to balance the budget. So we cannot use it here. But if 6 months in, it looks like we're not able to keep pace, the sheriff is not able to keep pace with the aggressive cut to the jail of $1 million, we could at that time figure it out. Send over $1 million of LATCF or something else, fund as a loan or whatever you want to call it. Is that correct?
Yes.
And all we would have to do, should we want to exercise that option, would be to say, Sheriff, we really want you to aggressively make cuts. We're going to give you $1 million less. He knows that in the event that he can't do that we still have money, but it allows us to sort of, force the issue, but just sort of say, this is your new budget and we want to see what you can do with that. But we're not leaving him without other options in the balance of the year, should he not be able to make that happen with the money we're giving.
And that would get us closer to our.
And that would give us, now it would be 6 million instead of 7. Right. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes.
The important part is that we can't do it now to balance the budget because of the statutory way we balance budgets. Just forget why and forget all that. We can't do that now. But should we find ourselves in trouble in 6 months from now, and we're not able to keep up with that aggressive cut, whether it's $1 million or $1.5 million or whatever, then we can bridge the gap with any extra money that we could find from now until 6 months from now. And this isn't to try to cheat the system, But what it is to try to set an aggressive jail fund, because everyone's astonished at how the jail fund's gone high. Everybody's upset about that. I get it. I agree. But what we can't do is set up for failure and have a problem where we have a legal problem. So we have to have that safety net.
Correct.
This would allow us to deduct whatever that extra amount that we want to try to be aggressive on, deduct that from that 7 million so that we can get our budget passed so that we can all get out of here and we can, do it legally and lawfully and ethically and everything else. Thank you, Mr. If we reduce the wages by 1 point, I mean, just from an overview here, if this were a normal place, which clearly not, if we were to, as a governing body, say we're going to pass along $1.2 million less for wages, department heads have to figure it out. I mean, county management have to figure it out. And I don't want to do that to be cruel and make that the problem of the table over there. But it just sounds like that's the interest over here. And I think the question is, how does that get implemented? Because if that does happen, I'm not saying for or against it. I'm just saying if we do, in fact, so let's just reduce that by 1.2 million, then we've plugged this gap. Does that satisfy management that there's not going to be some kind of an issue? Because what if they say, no, they don't want to buy out or something? Like what happens if we did that? Because that sounds like what would happen structurally here in order to accommodate that. We'd say, we're going to lower this by 1.2 million. And then you have 1.2 million less for the whole year. Is that something that you can do, you can work with, or do you need more instruction from here?
So that goes along with my thought on going to the department heads and saying, hey, look.
I mean, a normal place would do that.
That's what I was suggesting earlier.
Okay.
You give the number. Let us figure out how we're going to get to it.
There you go.
I think 1.2 is probably what we need to do.
So 1 point. Commissioner, what do you guys think of that? I like it.
I like 1.2.
I do too.